I believe it was the 1960s or so soul group known as the Shirelles that sang a song that said, "Mama said there'll be days like this." And that rings very true for the Buffalo Bills on Tuesday night as they are more or less steamrolled by the Tennessee Titans. The score was 42-16, and obviously when things get out of hand like that, fans tend to get emotional. Maybe you want to stay off Twitter sometimes during the games because you just have this tendency to hear the worst ideas and the dumbest ideas and these dramatic overreactions. And there's really kind of two reactions from the people that I've talked to, even just being out with my friends or what have you, or on Twitter. And there's the people that are in full-blown panic mode at 4-1. The defense is bad. This is going to catch up to us. We don't run the ball. We can't rush the passer. Yada, yada, yada. Like, we're not making the playoffs. Slow your roll. I'm more in the other group. The group that says, relax. They weren't going to go undefeated. It's foolish to think they were going to go undefeated. They're not going to go 15-1. I mean, we came into this season like 11-5, 12-4, maybe if we're really good, take the division. So why are you just going to lose your mind after they lose one game on the road to a team that was in the AFC Championship last year? Guys, Tennessee is a good team. Like, ever since Ryan Tannehill has gone in at quarterback, they've been outstanding. I think maybe Mike Vrabel gets a little bit more credit for being a good coach. They're like, wow, what a great, or what a perfectly coached team. This Mike Vrabel Tennessee Titans group. Wow, amazing. Adversity. They haven't practiced. Did you guys know they haven't practiced in 16 days? Did you know? The broadcast, did they mention it for you? That the Titans were overcoming adversity. I know I touched on that again, but I felt like I might as well touch on it again. Adversity, adversity, adversity. 16 days, adversity, 16 days. Shut up, Jay Feely. Holy moly. And I like Jay Feely. I've met Jay Feely. Jay Feely is awesome. But can you harp on literally anything else? Like I said on this video last week, these are professionals. They are held to really high standards. They know what they're doing. They've played football pretty much every year of their lives since they were 4 or 5 years old, for the most part. So going a week or two without practicing isn't that big of a deal. Off a bye week, you don't practice for a week. You practice 3 times in 13 days or whatever. So the Titans practice 1 time in 50. Big deal. I don't make a big deal out of that. And I will admit, to touch on the point that I was about to make prior to that it seemed like maybe the Bills got outcoached a little bit in the game. I can't take that. I mean, you have to give credit where credit is due. Mike Vrabel coached a pretty good game, but was he a little bit fortunate, a little bit lucky, maybe? Like, this is where good coaching. I think coaching matters in football, maybe more than any other sport, to be honest with you. But coaching tends to get too much credit sometimes. Like, great coaching, okay. Andre Roberts tipped a pass in the air and your guy picked it off, and Andre Roberts fumbled a kick, and your guy returned a punt 30 or 40 yards. Great coaching? I don't know. Maybe it's just poor coaching on the other side. It's just poor planning on the other side. Whatever. I guess I'm just trying to sort of make that point. But like to sort of branch off of that, the Titans just had short field after short field after short field. They had 4 touchdown drives, 28 points. 4 touchdown drives that covered a total of 76 yards. I think it was 76. Anyway, the Bills, on the other hand, never started, with the exception of their final drive, where they put Matt Barkley in the game, never started better than their 25-yard line. 20, 24, 9, 25, 9, 25, 3, 10. This is where they started their games. Or their drives. They were backed up all day. The Titans, like I just said, first possession, they get to the 16, they score a touchdown. They return a punt, they start at the 30, they score a touchdown. They have a nice 90-yard drive, and that was where I was most disappointed with the defense, to be honest with you. The 90-yard drive before the end of the half. The Bills start, it's 14-10, I believe. They force a punt. The Bills get backed up inside their own And it was at their 9-yard line. They go 3 and out. They only take a minute off the clock, and they get this huge field-flipping punt from Corey Bojorquez, like a 71-yard punt. And then there's like 2.5 minutes left in the half, or 3 minutes left in the half, and the Bills let them go 90 yards for a touchdown. I mean, simply unacceptable. The Titans had their number all day long. Didn't matter what they do. They could have run the Statue of Liberty. It would have worked. They could have ran the annexation of Puerto Rico. If for my little Giants fans out there, it would have worked. Just, it was not meshing for the Bills on defense. Granted, they were down Tre'Davious White. They were down Matt Milano. They do have an issue at pass rusher, because while guys might be winning matchups here and there, there's some sort of issue with contain. Tannehill got loose a couple of times. He kind of like iced the game, sort of, with like a 23-yard scramble. He rushed for another touchdown. And they're just not getting any sacks. And you don't necessarily need sacks to win the game, but the quarterback has to look pressured at times. I mean, he has to be forced into bad throws, and Tannehill was just able to do whatever he wanted. What did he finish with? Not too many yards, I'm guessing. 21 of 28, 195, and 3 touchdowns. Of course he didn't have that many yards. He had 42 yards rushing, but of course he didn't have that many yards passing, because they were on short fields all day. He could throw to A.J. Brown. He could hand off to Derrick Henry. He could throw to Jonnu Smith. They got a big first down to a guy named Cody Hollister, who, that's a real person, okay? Whatever they did, it worked. And A.J. Brown totally mismatched on Josh Norman. I don't mind Josh Norman being in the lineup, but without Tre'Davious White, you're pretty tough. You're in pretty tough there, I think, if you're the Bills. Because he shouldn't be covering the number 1 receiver, especially at this stage of his career, especially a young star, a star like A.J. Brown. I love A.J. Brown, one of my like man crushes across the NFL. Just an outstanding player. It amazes me that, what did he go, 51st overall? That is unbelievable. More unbelievable than DK Metcalf. I'm not even kidding. I know that Metcalf is a nice player in his own right. I'm more blown away by A.J. Brown and his complete domination of corners. But might the game have been different if Tre'Davious White is in there? Maybe. If Matt Milano's in there? Maybe. Like, Derrick Henry didn't really run the ball that well. 19 for 57. His backup, Jeremy McNichols, 9 for 28. Like, these guys aren't even running for 4 yards a carry. I mean, Henry, that's 3 yards exactly. I know he had 2 touchdowns. So be it. It was just the short fields and the lack of pass rush. And, you know, A.J. Brown, 7 for 82. Jonnu Smith is a mismatch for just about anybody across the league. But without Matt Milano, again, you're in tough. Without your best players on defense. And, like, a lot of people want to point at Tremaine Edmonds and be like, oh, where's Tremaine? Is Tremaine a star? Do we have to talk about this? And, you know, I'll listen to it, I suppose, because I would like to see Tremaine turn into a star. I do think he's playing hurt. I think his shoulder bothers him a lot. And he's out there, think about it this way, he is out there so that you don't have to see A.J. Klein in his role anymore. I mean, didn't you watch the Miami game where he couldn't play, and it was Klein and Dodson in there, and the way Gesicki attacked the middle of the field, and Fitz attacked the middle of the field with Parker and whoever? Like, it was kind of like that. I mean, it kind of looked similar to that this past Tuesday against Tennessee, but do you want A.J. Klein to be out there? I mean, that's why Tremaine is out there playing hurt, basically, so that you're only seeing A.J. Klein play 19 snaps or whatever he played. Anyway, I've gone far enough on Tennessee. We have to talk about the other team that was in the AFC Championship, the team that ended up winning the Super Bowl last year. The Kansas City Chiefs are coming into town, and right off the bat, I can't believe we can't get to go to this game. I'm not going to go on some COVID rant or anything, but, like, here we are. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. It's here. It's here on Monday night. It's happening. And none of us can go. I feel bad. I feel bad for myself in that regard. I feel bad for all of you. I mean, do we get to watch it on TV? Of course, but we should be there. Like, it would be so much. I just want that. I want that Monday night. It was supposed to be Thursday night, obviously, but I want that prime time game. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, 2 of the league's young and blossoming stars. Mahomes may be even, I don't even know if this is a maybe at this point, the best player in the league at this point. So I would love to be there. It's super unfortunate that we're not. But the Chiefs are coming off a loss that certainly stings to the Raiders, and I'm not one for the whole transitive property. Well, the Bills beat the Raiders on the road. The Raiders beat the Chiefs at home. Therefore, the Bills will beat the Chiefs. And it's not, the sports don't work like that. Be smarter. I certainly give the Bills a chance. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure if they're ready for this. I guess that's bottom line what comes to it. I'm not going to make my prediction for this game yet. I want to know. I guess I want to know if they're ready for it. If they're ready for Patrick Mahomes, the league's best quarterback, Tyreek Hill, one of the league's best receivers, Travis Kelce, one of the league's best tight ends, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, one of the league's best young running backs. Well, I mean, maybe. I think he's going to be one of the league's best young running backs. Maybe he hasn't really come into that yet. Andy Reid, one of the best coaches, surefire Hall of Famer at head coach. So, I mean, that's what you're up against. And they did just sign Le'Veon Bell. He won't be able to play this week against the Bills. Just real quick, I'm good. I'm good on Le'Veon Bell. That's fine. I don't necessarily want another mouth to feed. I would like, obviously, to have him as a threat in the passing game and maybe improve the running game. I don't really panic when it comes to the running game. So some fans are looking at well, we have to be able to run the ball. Why? We pass the ball so well. I don't want to stop throwing. I don't want to throw less. That's why I don't want Le'Veon Bell. I don't necessarily need more carries from Devin Singletary or Zach Moss when he eventually comes back. I would like more effective carries, but I want to run the ball as a surprise to the defense because we're not throwing the ball. Third down, second and third and long, it's just not an issue for the Bills anymore. They did it plenty of times against the Titans just this past Tuesday. They had 2nd and 10, they got it. 3rd and 15, they got it. They had, I think they had a 3rd and 10. They threw a touchdown to Gabe Davis. They gave us a legal shift penalty that made no sense to me personally. 3rd and 15, and he picks it up to Andre Roberts. It's just not an issue. 3rd and 7, Allen runs for it. 3rd and 10, or whatever. They're good. They're good throwing the football. The Titans just did a good job keeping everything in front of them, not letting them get beat deep, not letting them hit big chunk plays. That's why the Bills only had 2 possessions in the second half with Josh Allen. 2! The touchdown drive took 6-some-odd minutes. They had another 6-some-odd minute drive that ended in the interception, and that was it. The Titans started, what? The Titans had 3 touchdown drives in the second half. The Bills had the ball 2 times when it was still a game. So, I mean, there's your story there. I didn't mean to digress there, but I think it's a point worth mentioning. As far as the Chiefs go, I mean, we've talked about this. They're in tough. Did I wrap that up? I hope I wrapped that up for everyone. I don't really want to run less. The Bills are really good at throwing the ball, and now they get to face the team that's maybe best at throwing the ball in the entire league because they have the best player in Mahomes. So it looks like Milano's going to be back. It looks like Trey White is going to be back. So hopefully that will improve just about everything. Because if the running back or the tight end is better covered, or the receivers are better covered, maybe the pass rush gets home a little bit. Maybe that was the issue. Because, I mean, I don't want, like I said, you just can't have Josh Norman on Tyreek Hill. I mean, you're asking for it. Whatever it is, you're asking for it. If you have to put Josh Norman on Tyreek Hill. And if you have to put Andre Roberts at receiver, because it looks like John Brown's going to be back, and that's a good thing. I think that hindered them maybe just a little bit. Their over-the-top deep threat. Basically, what was I going to say? Andre Roberts. My point on Andre Roberts is, what does he bring you? I know Sal Capaccio likes to bring him up, and I think he's a really good guy, and he's really good in certain aspects of the game, special teams, whatever. But if he's a detriment everywhere else, I know he made one nice catch on 3rd and 15 or whatever, but I'm over valuing. I'm not overvaluing. I'm just over the idea of valuing things on special teams. Punt returns, I know the Titans had a really long one, but punt returns and kick returns and whatnot, they can really only back you up. Occasionally, once every year, twice every year, once every 3 years you return it for a touchdown, or a handful of times per year, you have a nice return that sets you up nicely. But for the most part, you're getting penalties because guys will dive at people's legs, and because there's somebody behind them like this, they call a block in the back. There's always holes. There's always block in the back. The league is trying to kill it. The league is trying to kill special teams because of the injuries that have been sustained on it. So I'm done. Forget it. Stop valuing it. Stop valuing it so much. Thinking if we're not solid in special teams, yeah, you need to be solid at kicker and punter and things like that. You want to be, ideally, you want guys who you can rely on there, especially kicker. But you don't need to be necessarily reliable. You just have to have reliable hands in the return game. Just catch it. Or kickoffs, just let it go. Punts, you could even make the argument to just let it go. Don't take, they're giving you the ball, let them give it to you, right? Just take advantage of the rules that are in place, the touchbacks and whatnot. Just let them give you the ball. Anyway, I'm going a little bit over my time here, and I do want to wrap this up quickly for you. I'm going to fall back on my point that I made just a couple of minutes ago. I'm not sure the Bills are ready for this game. I think the Chiefs are still very solid on defense despite what they did last week. I think that they showed they can be exposed, but I don't know if the Bills are ready for it. The Chiefs have, let's see, what have they allowed? 20, 20, 20, 10, 40. That's weird. So let's pick them to score. The Bills are going to score 30, but I think the Chiefs are going to score 34. I'm going to pick the Bills to beat, or the Bills to lose to the Chiefs 34-30 on Monday night. Guys, hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle and YouTube username are the same. Thank you, as always. Above all else, go Bills.